Yeah, we're gonna be talking about Elizabeth Short, and she was like this really beautiful woman. She was like originally a Boston native, and like she's like the third daughter of 5 children, but her dad left like when she was like 6 years old. And then he like later on wrote to her mom like how he was like apologizing about why he left them and everything. And she decided to like move with him, which was here in California. So she like moved over here with him, and she was like when she was like 18. And during this time she was also known to be like very like flirtatious with like a lot of men. So she had like a lot of partners. Eventually she ended up like moving out of her dad's place cuz he was like very abusive. Like they were just not getting along in general. And then so she would like go like yeah, so she would go stay around like with different people. Like she was basically like couch surfing for a good while. Up to the point where when she disappeared, so she was like when she disappeared, she was last seen with a married salesman. And he had like said that he like, dropped her off at this hotel. It's called like the Biltmore Hotel.
Oh,
Mm.
And
yeah.
so it's like not far from here too. It's like in downtown. So she was like last seen being dropped off there, and he was also like, yeah, like that's where I fucking left her. And she like supposedly she was meeting her sister, but a lot of people think she was actually gonna meet up with somebody else, like another man. So yeah, so she went missing from there, and the guy was like considered the first suspect because like of course he had seen her, and she went missing on January 9th. Then later on, it was until like January 15th that her body was found in Limert Park. So this happened in
Okay.
1947 when she went. So she went missing January 9th, and like they did file her missing because everybody was just like, where the fuck is she? Because like she was known to like also be like very social. And yeah, nobody was able to get a hold of her. And then yeah, it was until January 15th, 1947 that they found her body. It was just dumped in a street. So like right there in the map that so it's marked. It wasn't like it there was like nothing there. It was just a vacant lot. And she was like cut up in half, and she was like displayed like
Are you okay?
oh, oh the full body picture, please.
All right, before we
Okay.
put it on, just a reminder that this is graphic, so if you do not like it, we will let you know when it's okay to look back. All right, Alma, we ready?
Yeah, it's graphic.
It
And yes,
is.
yes, it is close to the Coliseum. So it's not too far from me actually. When I found like I realized this it wasn't too far from me. I actually want to go down there and like go look at that area, but like at the same time there's a house there now. And like
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow.
Yeah. It's fun. It looks like such a nice area too, and it's just like wow, like who would have thought? Who would have thought? But
I
yeah,
wonder if
so
the people know, like the one that live there now, like do they know that that's where they found her?
that's another reason why I wanna go, but then I don't wanna be up to the homeowners and be like, "Hey, do you guys know, like, there was, like, this, like, notorious body found right here?" Like, and
Take
then,
print out the picture and show it to them. Look, look.
Oh
yeah, I was
man.
telling one of my friends
Right there
I
on your
was
front yard.
yeah, I was telling one of my
Yeah.
friends, and he was just like, "Oh, they're gonna be like, oh, it's another one of them."
Oh my god.
What if they actually did end up buying the house just because of this?
I mean,
I
I would do
doubt
the
it
same
though.
thing.
I
I
mean, yeah, there are people who
It's
are
like
like that.
yeah, like, you can set up every year, like, a little, like, fake
Oh my god,
mannequin
Linda,
thing and
you
have people
would.
come
That
and
is
take
messed
You would.
up.
But Brian
Yeah.
said, was she cut in half?
Yeah, so she was cut in half.
Mhm.
So like her leg her like from her abdomen area, it was split in half. And actually the way that she was cut is actually like a very interesting procedure because it's called like a hyperscopotomy. Hy I don't know how to pronounce it, but it's apparently goes it's like through the region like from the where you cut from the front. And like so there's like the spinal cord, right? But apparently there's a gap in the spinal cord that you can cut through without actually cutting into the spine. So it was like it was very like
Oh.
precise too. So like that like they definitely thought it was like a doctor who committed this crime. Yeah, so that's like her pelvic area, and actually like on her pelvic area, like by her belly button down to like the top of her vagine, it was also cut too. So like they went like
Yeah.
this too. Yes.
Wait,
So
what
that's
happened to her boobie?
oh yeah. So then the perpetrator also cut off several parts of her body. So like her boobs, he cut off like pieces of it. And then like you can't really see her face well here. But they also like cut her like like the Joker from like how he has to cut from here to here. So it's called a Chelsea grin or a Gaslow smile. And so they also did that. The killer also did that to her, which I mean, like when you see it up close from the face, I should have sent you one of those. But like, it's also
Mhm.
like one of like the most known images because like just the way like she looks like she's smiling,
Yeah.
and it's crazy also because she was like she wanted to be famous. She was an aspiring actress, and it's like at the end she did get what she wanted. She got fame, but like not for a good reason. They never found her killer. Um, there was like at the time when this happened, like the Los Angeles Herald, they actually like so they received a letter from the killer. Supposedly, they thought it was somebody that she had like previously stayed with, but it turned out he wasn't it.
I found
And
one of the pictures. Like
then
this one. Yeah.
yeah.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
I mean, it's very crazy how they did it. I'm more I'm like for me personally, like I'm very like intrigued by the way they cut her body and how like it was done because especially like it was something that was taught like in the 1930s, so not a lot and and also I think it was around that time they stopped teaching that. And so not a lot of people knew how to do this procedure. Like there weren't a lot of doctors who knew how to do this. So that's why like their suspect list, like they knew for sure it had to be a doctor. So they like one of the main suspects is that one George Hodel. So he was thought to be one of the suspects too, because he was already put like on trial for sexually abusing his daughter. And she ended up saying during one of the trials that he was the Black Dahlia murderer. And like even
Mhm.
to this day, like his son also believes that he was the killer because they were known to also have like a relationship before in the past. So
Uh-huh.
they think it was him, and he was a doctor too. And also when he was in medical school, he was in medical school during the time they were teaching how to cut that procedure, like how to do that exactly. So yeah, and like even his son also thinks like he's like the Zodiac killer. So like he was like found to be in that same area during the time. And also like they do have like his fingerprint evidence, but they still don't really know like whether he is 100% the Zodiac killer or the Black Dahlia murder. And they do have another suspect that actually lived down the street. I couldn't find a picture from him. His name is Dr. Walter Bailey. So he was also thought it to be one of the suspects, and he literally lives like down the street from where the body was dumped too.
Damn.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, so so they dumped the body on Norton Street, right? And like then there's like Elmo K, and then like literally you have to cross Elmo K and a couple blocks down there's where he lived. And he was also so he was also a doctor and he was also in medical school during the time they were teaching this procedure. And during the same time he also had a practice that was close to the Biltmore Hotel where she was last seen. He was also apparently going crazy during that time. She's just mostly known for the way she was cut up and like I mean that's like a fucked up way to be known, but
I did read that the son ended up basically saying that the reason why he thought that he was the Black Dahlia killer was because during that time that the murder happened, him, his brother and sister, I think, well, his siblings and his mom were away, so they weren't
Mhm.
at the house.
Yeah.
So like they wouldn't have seen it or anything, but like they were away. So it like what a coincidence that they weren't there at the house when it happened.
Yeah, cause she like remember she was like she went missing January 9th and her body was found January 4th 15th. So she wasn't murdered she wasn't cut when she was alive. She was cut after she was dead. But they also like do think she was raped before she was murdered. They think that she was like killed like on January like 10th. 11th around that time. So like in between that time frame that she was found.
I remember them saying that even like when they found her, there was no blood anywhere on her body because it was like
Yeah.
drained.
Yeah, so it was drained and then her body was also washed too by the killer.
How did they find her? Like someone was walking, right? They were like
Oh
jogging.
yeah, because there was a lady who lived in that area and she was just going for a walk with her kid or her dog, one of those two. And then they just like they came across it and she thought it was a mannequin because of the way she was displayed. And so she thought it was that until she realized it was like a fucking body, and she's like, "Oh my Jesus Christ!" And then she went to go call the police, and then everybody started coming out too, being chismosos. Another reason why they think it's also George Holdell is because he of the way the body was placed. So like a lot of people thought it resembled surreal art, and he was very into surreal art too. So they really thought it was him because of that. And they also like had a detective was like going. I do know there is a painting that either he made or he purchased from somebody he knows. Like even one of his closest friends, it was some guy named Martin. Also like said that he is the Black Dahlia murderer. I guess he had this peace commission by this other guy who did do surrealism art, and in the picture it literally has like a woman like that looks exactly like Elizabeth Short, and she's also like posed in the same way as her. There was a detective following him and everything like that, and they never got him confessing to it. But another thing with George Holdell, he was also accused of murdering his secretary, like because she was like, I believe she was drugged and she overdosed on that. But
What?
they think it was him because he had done like financial fraud. So they think it was
Mm.
him because he was trying to cover it up. They also wired his phone. He was caught saying, "Supposing I did kill the Black Dahlia, they can't prove it now. They can't talk to my secretary anymore because she's dead."
He probably did do it. It just sounds like a lot of kind of like evidence pointing towards it. I don't know. All these doctors are all psychopaths.
They have like a god
Yeah.
complex. Like they
Yeah.
feel powerful just because they saved someone's life. Like, oh, like I'm the greatest. Like I did this. I brought them back to life. Like I'm God. You know, that's what I've
Especially
seen
the
with a lot of
You know,
strippings,
people.
yeah.
take away their life. Yeah.
Didn't he do drugs or drink
Oh
a lot
yeah.
too?
He was a hardcore drinker, hardcore drug user. Like they literally had like orgies in his house too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was interesting person for sure. I mean, he was like very like he was very popular. Like I guess they say that he was very affluent in Los Angeles society.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I've heard that he might have paid off some of the cops so he wouldn't be charged for it or they
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't find any evidence on him. Oh,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
didn't they
No.
say that most of the evidence of the Black Dahlia was destroyed or they were
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
lost?
lot of women seen.
Oh yeah.
Uh huh.
So it's possible. He had money. He did have
Mm-hmm.
money.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible.
And it's
Yeah.
easy to point it down to the doctor that happens to live down the street and was
That's
going
true.
Yeah.
Mm.
That is
I
true.
do think he did it though because I mean it does not look like a mistake. Like there's so much done to that girl that like it does not look like a mistake.